Welcome to K&D's Homestead. I'm Donna. I'm working in the garden today. There's all kinds of projects that I'm working on. But the first thing that I had to do was I had to build this shelter, a shade. I put a shade cloth up over a cattle panel. I set up a cattle panel just like I would if I was building a trellis in the garden, but I did it in an opposite direction with no intention of planting anything. However, I really could. But anyways, I have this shade cloth. I don't know if you can see it. I'll move the camera in a minute. Some of my plants are just getting fried, crispy out here. Too much sun. The heat is extreme, and the humidity is just killing everything. So I set this up in hopes of trying to save a few of my potted plants that are out here in the garden, and I really don't have any sufficient place to put them in the shade where I have access to water. So I built this shade area, and what a difference in 5 minutes. Several, if not 5 to 10 degree difference under here. It's so much cooler, and I kind of want to stay here myself. So I think the plants, they can get sun. The sun will come through this fabric, as will the rain, but it does filter out. This is actually a sun sail, and I have several, and I use them in different places. I use them in over my chicken run. The wind is blowing. I use them over my chicken run, and I keep one for my dogs, just a place to have a cooler location. They're relatively cheap, so I buy them often just to have on hand. And so I just finished putting this up. I'm going to strap it so that the wind don't take it off. But when I started this, because I had to put the T-post in the ground and set up the cattle panel, I thought I had turned my phone on. I did not. So I did it without realizing that I didn't have that on video. But y'all know how to put up a cattle panel. You don't need it on my channel to see how it's done, probably. But what a difference. It's just a place to give some little relief to some of my plants. And I've got a lot of other chores, and I'm going to work on those today. And as I move around, I will run the camera. Well, it's not really pretty, but I got part of it up. I'm going to do two panels side by side, and I'm going to zip tie them together so that I have plenty of room. Right now I just have one, and the canopy is not on there straight, but it's what I could do by myself. When my husband comes home, I'll have him help me with it. I'll turn this camera around and show you what I've done. So I do have the post up for the second cattle panel, but that first one by myself about whipped my behind. So I'm going to wait and let him help me, and then I'll be able to spread that canopy out flat onto the top of the two cattle panels, and I can move a few of my potted plants in there because the heat is just killing them. And one of them is my the angel trumpet right here, and it has bushed out a few times, but then the leaves just get burnt in the heat, and so it's not doing really well. It's trying to survive, but it's not surviving really good. And then I've got this hanging basket of asparagus fern, and look how root bound it is. It's pushing itself out of the pot. I need to repot this, but they like a little bit of shade during the day, and the sun has really just about ruined it. And then I've got this little willow here. It has barely hung in there. I've got a few little small pots of things here that I wanted to keep in a shade. Now it'll still get sun here, but it won't get the beating sun and there'll be a little bit of shade, and a little bit of shade from me too. I might put a chair under here. And then this pot of turmeric here, I'm gonna keep it under here for just a little bit of dappled shade. Some of the leaves have burned up on the bottom, and I'm sure I got some other things out here sitting around that I put a lot in my chicken run to give them some shade over there, but I'm kind of running out of space. So right here at the end of the season, when the temperatures are just so extreme, I'm just trying to pull everything out of the yard and kind of, you know, give a little bit of a break to some things. The peppers are doing really good. Of course, they like a lot of sun, a lot of heat. That's the paprikas. I've shown them a few times. Some of the limbs, I got some broken limbs because of that tropical storm we had last week, but the plant's still doing fairly good, and I got a lot of peppers, and some of them are turning red. Well, I've already throughout the summer brought in a lot of peppers, but the storm didn't tear it up completely. Now over here in a different area, this box, I've talked about this in several videos. It was full of overgrown strawberries. So I just took my weed eater and I weed whacked those down, and I'm going to dig out the majority of them and maybe leave a few, but leave them spaced because they just grown together so much. So I'm cleaning this box out right now. And then this second box right here, this also is overgrown strawberries, and I'm gonna do the same thing. Really, I'm not needing as many strawberries as what I've planted. A lot of them have gone to the birds because I just, you know, haven't needed so many, and I've put so many away. But I don't want to do without the strawberries altogether. They come back year after year. These are, I don't know, they may be 3 or 4 years old now. And I kind of expected them to not come back because if you read about strawberries, the perennials, they're usually only good for a couple of years, 2 to 3 years, and then it's recommended to replace them and get new ones. And I haven't done that because these just come back and they just thrive. But they thrive so well that they get overcrowded. And they're mixed. Some are the June-bearing strawberries and some are the ever-bearing. But I'm going to thin them out, and then next year I'll just have a handful, which is about all I need. And I might even do away with this box here of strawberries altogether because I might need the space for something else and just keep one box for strawberries. I went ahead and pulled all of those strawberry plants out of this first box because as I started trying to pick and choose, you know, figuring out which one would fit here and leave some space, they were matted down so bad I just couldn't pick and choose and pull any up without pulling 5 others together because they were just so root bound. So I just went ahead and pulled all of them out. It took me about 30 minutes to get them all out. And I'm sure that I probably missed a root here and there, which would be okay if before the end of the summer or by the beginning of next spring, any starts popping up, I'll just pull them out and transplant them somewhere and keep the ones that do come out. And but I can tell by the level of the soil in the box, this is compacted down pretty bad. It's light and fluffy, but it has lowered, so I'm going to need to top this off with some extra soil. And then I will cover it with compost, which it'll just be hay out of the goat house. That's what I use to put in my boxes. And I'll just cover them up and let this rest for the winter. And then I'll have an extra box to plant in next spring. I still have to do that second box down there, but I'm happy that this box is nice and clean. I also think that I'm going to go ahead and pull these sweet potatoes out, or at least the vines. I'm not even sure I've got any sweet potatoes in there, but they are eat up so bad with bug activity, and they just don't look like they're doing well, and the end of the box is full of weeds. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out, and if it's too soon, it's too soon, but this is just such a mess. I can't stand it anymore, and I really don't believe that they have done very well, so I just want to clean it out and be done with it. The box cleaned out, and there was some weeds. It wasn't too bad. There's still a few weed pieces of grass in there, but I'll finish that on a later date. I'm going to dig in there and see if there's anything in it. I'm really not expecting any sweet potatoes, but I'm going to dig around just to see. And I'm going to have to climb up in this box. Hopefully I don't break something of mine. Ugh. There goes a little snake. A little green snake. I stabbed that one. There's several potatoes in there too. I don't know what kind of snake that is. It's a little small green one. Look at this. Alright dude. Get out of my box. Go on. Another potato. That's a decent sized one. That's odd to have a little tiny baby snake like that all by itself. I hope I don't hit a nest of them. That was a little snake. I'm not sure I've ever dug up a snake out of my boxes before. I did see a long, about 4-foot black racer today when I was mowing. It ran right in front of my mower. I didn't run it over, but I did run it into the woods. It kind of scared me. I wasn't expecting it. There's another potato. Looks like I'm gonna have better luck with potatoes. Regular, those are bacon potatoes rather than sweet potatoes. I know I'm getting tired. There's more potatoes. My gosh. I stabbed one. That's a good potato. I guess I didn't clean this box out good when I harvested my potatoes. Or I left little things like this and they just continued to grow. Baby potato. I'm going to take a break from this digging. It's hurting my back. But I'll show you what I got, which is next to nothing. And I'm not surprised. I did not expect to find anything. What I noticed when I was pulling all the vines out, the vines were everywhere, but they were along the surface. There were very few places where they went down into the soil. And that probably is why no sweet potatoes formed. There was a lot of the little fine roots, but nothing significant. But all the sweet potato vines just went that way. There wasn't much that went down into the soil. But this is what I got so far. I got 3 decent sized sweet potatoes, although I stabbed, no, I got, well, I don't know if you can count that as a good one. I stabbed them a little bit, so I will have to use them. And I got a handful of regular potatoes that I guess were left behind from the potato harvest. And then a bunch of roots. This is about all I'm coming up with. But I will come back and do some more digging and finish out. Let me set this down. And I will finish out this box later. I need to do something that's got me standing upright instead of bending. That's very tough because that soil is super, super hard. Let me see what this is right here. I don't know where that little baby snake went, but I hope I don't run over him with my feet. Just a root. Missed. So I will come back and report if I find anything more. I think what I'm going to do is get my weed eater, and I'm going to weed eat around the edges of the garden on the back, because I haven't taken care of that in a long time, and that is a super duper mess. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Instead of bending over and digging right now, clean up the back end of that garden. So far, here at the back of the garden, this is what I've weeded. I can't believe that I let it get so bad, so tall. But I got it knocked down. It is not like I want it, but it is getting late, and I think I'm going to go in and start dinner. And there's so much here, I'm going to have to get the rake tomorrow if the weather permits. They are calling for rain here. And rake this stuff up, weed eat again, and get it down to the fabric that is down there, and then mow and clean it up. But I've done that. I made my shelter for those plants. Now what I'm going to do with this shelter, I forgot to go back to it. It's going to have 2 cattle panels. I think I mentioned it, I'm not sure. And then I can take that sunshade there and stretch it out where it'll be flat over the hoop, and it won't have to be spread out like that. I just haven't got to it because my husband's still working and I can't get that the cattle panel by myself. I did this one by myself and that was a chore. So between the cattle panel, the sunshade, cleaning out that box down there, and I weeded. I've got pots and other boxes, and I've been weeding throughout the day, hand pulling things out of the pots, weeds and such. I did not get to this box, but I will maybe tomorrow. And I did a lot of mowing, which I did not video, but I mowed the outside of the garden here. Got this side mowed, and then the other side over there. I got the goat yard mowed, and then this road, I call it a road, it's not really, I don't know, we have traveled on it, but it's at the back of the property, and I'm trying to walk to it. Everything is a mile away around here. So this is the back edge, so I got that mowed that way and over to the goat yard, and then down the side of my garden here, and then this is a road as well. So I've done a lot of mowing. I thought I'd get more done, but I've had to go in a few times and cool off and take breaks and, you know, sit down and take it easy. I'm not a spring chicken, so I can't be out here non-stop like I could last year and all the previous years. So I'm going to take my tractor and I'm going to empty all of this stuff. Tomorrow, maybe I'll get that stuff right there cleaned up. I'm sorry, I'm swinging the camera around. And then I'm going to tackle this box. I've shown this several times. It's such a mess. I just keep putting it off. But I'm going to see if I can tackle this tomorrow. Again, if the weather permits. I did get a few paprika peppers, so I'll take it. I'm appreciative. And it has been a very long day. I'm hot, I'm sweaty. I've been at, I think it's after 6, but I've been out here since like 8 o'clock this morning. Chores all over the yard, you know, between mowing and cleaning up the garden and all of that, and I'm done. I'm so done. I am just empty of any more energy to do anything. So I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna call this video done. Can't have any more fun today, and I'm gonna bid you all goodbye until tomorrow, and I hope that you will come back and see me again. Y'all have a great evening if it's evening where you are. I appreciate you stopping by. Hit the like button and consider subscribing. I appreciate you being here. Until the next time, bye-bye.